Come on in, come on in. Couple talk is here. Couple talk is here. Come on in, come on in.
I kind of like that music.
First off, we don't own any types of copyright to this music, so just want to give a shout out to the music department that provided this music.
Yes. Professional band.
Just want to make sure that we don't get shut down. Listen, if you're not on Facebook Live, we are on YouTube. Subscribe to our YouTube page. We need that page to grow. So if you're not on it, subscribe. Now, who do we have on today?
Let's see. So welcome everybody. We are so glad to be back. Last week we had a little what do you call those? A hiatus, because we were working on some things. And the reason why we're a little late tonight is because if you came to the pre-show, Kimrick was throwing down in the kitchen making fried chicken and
just a little something for the people.
It was quite delicious, I have to say.
Well, thank you, babe.
You're
Thank
very
you.
welcome.
Thank you so much. And I appreciate it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So what is on the topic for today?
Wow.
Okay.
Oh, look, I was sharing, and now we have guess who's watching?
Who's on?
It's Christina.
Hey.
Yes.
Good to see. Good to know. Good to hear.
Well, mommy's downstairs, Junior.
Well, listen, there's nothing wrong with that. Listen, first of all, let's check in. How was your day today? How was your day during the week? You know, how was these days? Let me see. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Today's Thursday. How do you now see?
Okay, look. We need to stop being in our devices sharing. We need to be present. Today we are talking about being present, kind of.
Well, let me hit the couple talk share so I can.
I share. But you know, my share doesn't work. Facebook. I try to share my Sunday message.
Mm-hmm.
I can't share my church. I can't share couple talk. Like if there were a maintenance for Facebook, like, hey guys, my account's not working. Maybe I could get stuff done, but I can't seem to share anything.
Well, you need to check that Apple phone.
It's not the Apple phone, Junior. It's Facebook. It's Facebook. And I notice every time, like when the church goes live on Sunday and I'm trying to share the message, which is important, and Facebook hasn't shared my message.
Well, then you need to get in contact with what's his name from Facebook, but he's a billionaire, so he's
Zuckerberg.
And he ain't gonna answer. So Zuckerberg, please get your staff.
And please help my Facebook page. I cannot share anything on my page. My God. Anyway, so let's get into the message. We are well beyond 5 minutes, and we need to talk about what we came here to talk about tonight.
Well, let's talk about it.
Okay. So today's topic.
She's taking lead today, y'all. Hey.
I don't know how well I'm gonna do.
Hey.
But tonight we decided to talk about something that I think is super important in a relationship. And we practice this in education as well. So when my husband, because he's the one who brought it up to me, I'm taking the lead, but this was totally his idea. He came up to me and asked me to talk about active listening.
Active listening equals effective listening, which equals to what? A great relationship.
Okay.
You like
Very
that?
good.
That was
Very
good.
Okay,
that
good.
Was real good.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Right?
Yes.
So, and I think that I brought it up because, you know, I think that in our conversations, there are many times that.
Oh, let's simulate. Let's simulate our conversation.
Okay.
Okay. You be you and I'll be me.
Well, you want to do that now?
Yes, I want to do that now.
Okay. Well, here it is.
Okay.
You be you and I'll be me. You be you.
Yes.
All right, go ahead.
Okay, no, don't try to act brand new because we on Couple Talk. I want you to do exactly what we do when it's time for us to have a conversation at home.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. End scene. Kimrick, No, no, you messing up already. You messing up already. Let's start over.
Hey.
So I had this thing. I wanted to talk to you about something.
Okay.
All right. So you remember the other day when I was going to the grocery store and I told you that like I got this phone call from this dude about the car, and I was telling him that I needed to get my light fixed, but then he like had some other situation going on. I remember I told you like, and he wasn't like really focused.
No.
Okay, so my car needs to be looked at. So
how you bring the car
I know, because I never talk
Yo, bad.
about the car. Because you know what's funny? If I was talking about the car, you probably would be paying more attention.
Yeah, but you don't talk about the car.
Okay. Hey, babe. I wonder if we could like. I was thinking about, since I'm off this week, maybe we could do something different.
Like what?
I don't know.
Okay.
See what I'm saying? Like, this is too real life right now because you're doing exactly what you normally do.
But what I'm saying is that what I'm saying is that I was actively listening though.
No, you were not just now.
So you're saying that I should have had a response?
Okay, well, let's talk about this now. How many of you in your relation, you feel like you're an active listener all the time in your relationship? You're always listening. You are always on point. Like when your person wants to talk, you are sitting and being an active listener every single time. Tell me, please. So can you should I now talk about, see?
Well, no,
I'm trying to get right now.
Well, I'm trying to get the people, get the sharing on. But go ahead. I'm trying to get the sharing on. Go ahead.
You see what I'm saying?
Lord help me. Listen, I need help in that area.
No,
I need help in that area. And a lot of times you got to just admit, listen, fellas, and I guess I can speak for some. No, well, let me speak for me. I can't even represent the fellas.
Please speak for you, sir.
Well, there's sometimes where, I think that when, I totally feel, me personally, I feel that, if a story is not told in a good medium speed way, and if it's slowed down a little bit, then it kind of throws me off a little bit. So as far as a conversation, it has to have a medium speed in it, like, speed medium. Not slow, but medium speed, to the point where you're actually talking and I can follow, and then I can actually grab what I need to grab out of the conversation. But sometimes you go, sometimes you go left, like, babe.
Don't do that. Don't start.
I'm trying to help the folks.
Don't do that.
Babe. Can you
can you stop? No, stop doing that. Stop doing. I don't talk like that. Just
do we have any comments in here? Do we have any comments?
No, nobody's commenting because they're all active listening.
Well, that's what I'm saying, and because of that, a lot of times the attention span.
Because of what? Away. You never finished. You just was trying to mock me.
Well, sometimes it's not going fast enough.
So because I'm not speed talking, you're disinterested in what I'm having to say.
Because in my mind, you see, you got to understand the functionings of the brain and how it works. That when you speak, right? Let's say from you speak, your words come. You remember?
Don't say anything that's going to get you in trouble, Junior.
You remember the electric company?
You
remember the electric company from back in the day? Do you remember that? Anybody remember the electric company?
That's not even Bible. Bible say you're not supposed to talk fast. They say you be slow to speak and quick to listen. That's what the Bible say. It don't say nothing about you better speed up your words.
I don't think it was into that context.
Yeah, well, it is. It is. So the words are be slow to speak and quick to listen. That ain't no more context than that.
No,
you need.
It said be swift to hear and slow to speak.
Okay, semantics. Same words. You flipped it around, and it doesn't say I have to speed up what I'm saying for you to listen. Anyway.
Yeah, Martina said, bro, I know you're not a medium listener. No, it's not.
Yes,
It's not a
yes.
medium
He's a
listener.
medium listener.
Well, the thing is, I think no. When I say medium, I'm talking about the as far as
you talking about the
speed of the information coming. It's just like a
In other words, he has the attention span of
what?
You don't have one?
I have an attention span.
Okay.
I have one.
It runs out after medium speed.
Well, no, I think that it doesn't slow at the medium speed, but I think that it's me as being the receiver. So effective listening. Effective listening is to hear the whole details, right?
No, we can talk about what active listening is.
All right, well, go ahead. Tell me what
All right. So basically, let's talk about the posture that you have when you're active listening. So, and we're in the classroom and we're talking to students, right? See, you're not active listening right now.
Go ahead. I'm listening. I'm looking at the responses too. So go ahead.
You can't see, and that's what I'm saying. Okay, active listening is that you turn off all of the distractors that's trying to get you not to listen, and you look at the teacher. In this case, I'm not the teacher, but in a classroom, you are listening attentively to the teacher, eyes and ears. So teachers may give a call and response like eyes and ears, or and the student is zoned in on the teacher. When the student starts picking up his pencil and tapping it on the desk, looking off out the window, looking at a friend, we know that they're not active listening because now their attention is everywhere. And it's natural. I'm giving you a hard time, but it's natural for a person to just drift off because it's like, I have 50 million things. It's a discipline to active listening. It's not just something that comes naturally. I'm just going to be such a great listener. No, it's something that you have to practice.
Right.
So you can't give yourself the excuse of, I just can't do it. I can't do it. Yeah, we understand that. So you practice active listening. So the first thing is the posture. You're looking at the person directly. You're not in your phone. You're not on the TV. You're not looking over here. You're looking at the person. That's posture. That's first.
Okay, so when you say discipline, like how do you like what are the methods of discipline?
Okay.
Like how can a person do that? Like as far as, all right, let's say they don't have the skills of active listening. So
I was going to go into more of the skills of active listening.
All right, go ahead.
So not just the posture though, like the way that you're taking in the information, you're not formulating in your head a response already. You're not taking that information to say, all right, so how am I going to come up with a response? Like, or automatically getting in your feelings because now you're defensive. Like, that's not active listening. That is active responding in your brain. That's like you saying, she just said this. Let me see now. Let me come up with my rebuttal. Because this, you know what I'm saying? So you're automatically in your head. You're not listening. You're just kind of counteracting what's being thrown at you. You're almost taking it in like a weapon, like it's a missile being thrown at you instead of trying to understand. I keep saying Stephen Covey says, first seek to understand and then be understood. That's what active listening is. Like you're trying to understand the person. Take yourself out of it. So one of the things that Very Well Mind says is that you need to, for active listening, you have to have a neutral and judgmental posture. Okay? You're not trying to defend yourself. Then you have to have patience.
I got that.
No. You just said that if you're not talking fast enough, you lose attention.
If you're not talking fast enough, I lose attention. That's sometimes. That's not all the time.
That's very much all the time.
But you know that sometimes you don't go directly into what.
But you're not taking on me. Like that's what I'm saying. It's more about active listening. Is more about the other person than yourself. So you have to put yourself in the person's mind. You have to kind of try to figure out what they're saying to you, not just the words. You're putting yourself in their position and trying to understand them. That's active listening. How many times have you sat in the classroom listening?
Martina said that sounds hard to do.
It is hard to do. How many times have we all been in a classroom listening to a teacher and we don't know what context it is? We're like, I don't even know what the teacher is saying. So we try to understand by listening to her or him and trying to grasp the information. And when we don't understand, what do? Ask a question, don't we?
Right, but sometimes when we don't understand, we ask the question. Now, that's in a classroom setting, but in a relationship setting, a lot of times, the individuals are the people that's in the relationship, the husband, the wife, the boyfriend, the girlfriend. They a lot of times it's assumed that you understand, and if you ask a question, then there's an attitude with that because you expecting that person to already understand.
If you are actively listening to someone and they don't understand what you're saying, and you say, "I'm really sorry. I want to understand you. Can you explain it in a different way, or can you explain that again to me?" It depends on how you ask the question. Don't say, "What are you talking about?" That's a whole different, you just messed up the whole vibe, because now you're not even listening. You're just being condescending and mean, and it came out wrong. So it's the way in which you say it. You say, I really want to understand what you're saying. You wouldn't say that to a teacher. What you talking about? You would want to understand, like, I really need this knowledge.
But then there's sometimes when you continue to ask the question because you really don't understand, I don't care how many times you explain it, then even the teacher can get frustrated at the point of the person not understanding.
So what do you
So then now, how does that affect the process of effective and active listening?
So
I'm talking about in relationship-wise.
In relationships, if you have a question and you need an answer, and your spouse is getting angry at you, if you're being very, very like, I just want to understand. I really do just want to understand. And if you're frustrating your partner by saying that, then maybe y'all need to take a break and not talk about it for a minute.
So you say it now, then walk away from it, and then maybe come back
to it. Like, you don't beat a dead horse. If you both are at a place where, you're tired of explaining yourself and the other person is tired of listening, then it's just going to be combustible. Like,
but can't the response cause the other party to begin to shut down and not want to even participate?
Give a response. Give her an example of what you're saying.
I'm just saying, like, for instance, if you said to me, if you told me about this scenario and I said, well, I don't really understand. So then you now explain. You try to start breaking it down piece by piece, like Rubik's Cube, right?
Oh, are we talking about how we do it?
I'm just saying. I'm saying in general.
In general.
Person,
oh, okay.
Right. So the person is saying, well, you know what? I still don't understand. Can you explain it to me a little bit more? Right. Mm-hmm. So then you go again. So this is the second time now. You already tried to break it down one way.
Okay.
And then now you're trying to break it down a little. Mm-hmm. Then the person goes,
I still don't understand.
Yeah, I got that part, but maybe explain a little bit on this part. So then now you start getting frustrated.
No. Then you say, well, tell me what you do understand. How does it sound to you? And then as you holding the information, you're hearing how the person is receiving it, because they're now telling you how they're receiving it. And then you can kind of discuss, well, you can address how they're receiving the information. Mm-hmm. So if you feel like, oh my gosh, I done said it 5 times, put it on the other person now. Okay, tell me what you do get. Tell me what you are understanding. And then 9 times out of 10, they wasn't paying attention. They keep saying they don't get it because they're not really listening anyway.
But isn't it a time and a place? Scripture says there's a time and a place for everything.
That's out of context.
No, that's a season.
That's out of context.
But no, I'm saying that's what the scripture says. But then yet, if I want to take that now and now put it into the scenario based on what was stated, just how you took what you took and put it in there, like he was making a grilled cheese sandwich.
That was a
my thing is, right? So my thing is that at this point, right? I just lost my train of thought. Just lost it. Just lost it. It was right there too. It was there, and you just challenged me on that. That's why I just got off, right? Martina says, at that point, when you formulate a question in your mind according to what you're saying, it's not actively listening. So when you formulate a response, so that's what you're saying, Martina? I'm grasping something here. At some point, when the listener is only waiting on a chance to speak,
right,
they've missed part of the conversation.
Right.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
And I'm guilty of that. I am guilty of that. Matter of fact, most well, let me not.
Some females do have problems with listening to. A lot of us.
Yeah.
For sure. I don't think it's a gender thing. I do feel like it just depends on if you're a good listener or not. Now, do you think that I'm a good listener?
I think that you are a good listener, but then yet you do formulate responses immediately.
Absolutely.
You do. And then that could be frustrating for the other part that's actually for someone like me to now sit there and say, well, you already came up with a response. Mm-hmm. So are you really listening?
Well, here's the thing. I know with me, I'm listening, right? I'm listening. At the same time that I'm listening to what's being said, my mind is processing everything, right? And automatically as I'm listening, my mind wants to start saying, oh, wait, that's not true. That's not accurate. You know what I mean?
Right.
So we already know that's not active listening, but that's how it's going in my head. Like, what are you talking about? And so in my head, I'm trying to think of, things to say anyway.
Right.
So, yes, that is the truth. So how do we practice active listening? How do we do this? We already talked about, some of the things that we can do. Here are some of the symptoms of non-active listening. Okay.
Okay.
So if you're doing this, you're not active listening. It's kind of talking about what Martina was saying. Being stuck in your own head. That's what I was just describing. Like, I'm already in my head. I'm thinking about everything that's being said, and I'm already like forming scenarios. Not showing respect for the speaker. So if I'm talking to you, think about if you're giving a speech and someone's on their phone, or someone is, talking to somebody else, or just not even averting the eyes, all of that. Posture. Remember that. Only hearing superficially and not the underlying meaning, like not digging a little deeper into what you're listening to. Interrupting, talking over the person. That is not active listening. That is just trying to get your point across.
That sounds like argument.
Huh?
Not active listening.
It does, but it doesn't always have to be an argument. It could be like you're talking and then you're like, no, that's not true. You know what I mean? But It's like, wait, can I finish? And then that interrupts the active listening, because you want to put yourself in it. You want to defend yourself or whatever. Not making eye contact. That's not active listening. You're not listening.
But what if you have a problem with eye contact? Let's say you always had that problem. That was part of your IEP.
Cameron, do not bring that up. What? Okay.
What if that was part of your IEP?
You can y'all explain why you wouldn't be able to give eye contact to your spouse?
No, I'm saying because that's not what you do. If you had a problem with eye contact, there's sometimes where I have a problem with eye contact.
What is it that bothers you about eye contact?
I don't know. Okay. I'm just like, yeah.
You look at me in the eye all the time.
Not always.
Okay.
Do I look at you all the
If
time?
you have a problem with eye contact, then you talk to your spouse about what makes them feel heard. So if it's not eye contact, maybe you're looking at their hand and you're holding their hand, or you have your hand on their leg and you're just kind of like being still. Whatever you communicate to the person, saying, this is what I would like to see when you're listening to me. When you're actively listening to me. What does that say? Guilt. What does that mean, Pastor? I missed it.
If you can't look them in the eye, I guess.
Oh, guilt. If you can't look a person in the eye.
Is it always guilt though,
Pastor? You just opened up Pandora's box.
Is it always guilt?
Is it always guilt?
Because what if you have an IEP that you don't?
Why you keep talking about an IEP?
Well, I'm just saying. I'm just throwing a joke at you.
But
is it always?
Maybe it is. Always guilt.
It can be.
Pastor, you done started something. Okay. Rushing the speaker. That's not active listening. Making them go faster because you can't listen in time is not
Was that?
active
Did I
listening.
just say that though? Did I? That was I was saying
I was
earlier.
telling them that that's part of the not active listening.
Well, I'm guilty. I'm guilty.
Okay. Becoming distracted. That's
I'm
not
guilty.
active listening either. Okay.
I am guilty.
Topping the story, saying that reminds me of the time. Like, so if somebody's
Narcissistic.
Oh God, narcissistic conversationalist.
That is always about you.
Oh, so you're talking about something. This is not just even in relationships.
Is that effective listening though?
No.
When you take over, you got that takeover spirit.
No, it's like it's okay. You listening, but you're waiting to tell your story on top of it.
Wow.
So it's like you'll hear the person's story.
Like I'll say to you what happened to me during the day, and then
you'll be like, oh, let me tell you what happened to me today.
Right.
Nobody asked you to tell what happened to you today. The topic of the situation at hand is what needs to be talked about, not, oh, let me insert my story on top of yours. Oh my gosh. That's a pet peeve of mine. And it's called conversational narcissist. Check yourself to make sure you don't have that. And that's something you have to really work on yourself. Do you feel like every time someone's telling you a story, you have to insert your personal story to validate theirs? That's being a narcissist. Listen to their story, and then you can comment on their story, not yours. Do not insert your story on top of theirs.
Okay. So I mean, you're generally stating this. We're talking about now in a relationship.
In a relationship too.
Okay.
Babe, if you come home and you say, babe, I had a really rough day. Oh, well, so did I. Let me tell you about my day.
And you go all in.
What happened to his day? Like, he started the conversation. So you're not validating anything. You're just jumping on top of my story with your story.
So then now, how does that make the other person feel? It
makes the person feel like their voice is not heard.
Wow.
That their voice is diminished and that their stories are not relevant in the relationship. That's what it makes them feel like.
Wow. As if I didn't have a voice.
As if you didn't even have a voice.
Wow.
Your voice gets squelched.
Wow.
Sorry, my story is better than yours.
Wow.
So don't do that to your spouse, okay?
Wow.
All right, what does that comment say? I can't see any of them.
Oh, okay.
Do you want to say anything?
So well, let's go into the comments right here, all right? Martina said, no, cousin Brian says, I'm talking about me. Martina says, the conversation isn't one-sided. This sounds like something else. What I don't want to guess, right? And then Charles says, okay, what I was saying was avoiding eye contact can be not always, but can be due to guilt.
Yeah,
absolutely. And Brian comes back. He says, so because you cut them off, that's narcissistic behavior?
Because, and let's be clear about this. When you cut someone off to put in your own story on top, so you haven't acknowledged their story at all. You just inserted your story on top of theirs. That's narcissistic conversation. It's not about you. When someone is telling their story or telling something about them, it is not your job to say, oh, you know what? That same thing happened to me. Let me tell you my story. Wait a minute. You didn't even talk about their story. They had a story to tell. They deserve to be validated by their story, not by hearing your story on top of theirs. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
that's what makes it narcissistic. Yeah. Cutting them off is not making yourself a narcissist. Although some may say that is narcissistic behavior if you're always cutting someone off and not allowing them to speak. That means that you feel like your voice is more important than others. But that's a whole different conversation. I'm just saying, in regular conversation, validate someone else's story by listening to the story and not feeling like you have to tell yours on top of theirs.
But then, like you said, that key word is validation. Because then now, if let's say you came home and said, you know, babe, my day was da-da-da, and I gave you the spill of, I didn't even let you finish your story. But I then now gave you the spill of what happened to me. Then everything that you stated, I don't remember any of that.
No, because it became about your story. You became the story. You stepped into the spotlight. Also, I want to say this. If you come home and tell your spouse about your day and you get nothing in return, not even an acknowledgement, that's silencing their voice as well.
Go into that a little bit more, because you sometimes you always say that to me.
So if you come home and listen, your spouse is supposed to be, I've heard the word best friend, I've heard confidant. This is your person. So if you're going through a whole day and you haven't been able to talk to your person, you're going through all these things, and you want to come home and you want to unload and you want to tell your partner what happened. You get home, you bust through the door, you put all your things down. Babe, let me tell you what happened to me today. You go through this whole spiel, and all you get is let time pass, and then it's, oh, you got mail. What? You know what I mean? Like, are you going to acknowledge what I just said? Does it matter enough? Did you active listen? Did you put yourself in the person's shoes? Did you feel what that person was feeling? This is your spouse. This is not like your neighbor or somebody. You want to empathize and feel that. Like when you told me the other day that somebody said something to you, I don't remember. It was somebody at the job, and I was like, what? Who said that? Like, and I took on that because that's my partner. Like, I'm supposed to feel that.
So men, I think that what should be done is to give the validation, and how we do that is we sit, we listen, we put everything to the side, we listen to our spouse, we hear them, we look them in the eye. This is what I'm getting from all this, right? And then we validate. How can you validate? By acknowledging or sometimes repeating some of the things that have been said while the conversation is going on. So therefore, if my wife says to me that I had a meeting today and such and such happened, or Tina and Bobby interrupted my meeting because of such and such. Well, at that time, to get a better understanding, and this is what I'm getting out of it, is to now validate, right? In the middle of something, just say, oh, so it's Tina. Now, what did Tina do? And Tina did what? Oh, okay, go ahead. And a lot of times, watch this, that's a way to do it, because now it allows you to, whatever's going on in your head at the time, put it to the side, and now you're paying more attention to the conversation.
Well, that's a check-in.
That's a check-in for yourself, meaning so to allow yourself now to be more in tune,
involved
to the conversation.
Listening.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So that is part of active listening too, just kind of making sure, checking in with yourself to know that you are following, that you are, actually taking this in.
Right. Because a lot of us, and I can only say for some of us, but a lot of us, we didn't, reading comprehension and what's the other one? What's the reading comprehension? What's the other one? Math, word problems. Some of us weren't all 100% in that. Some of us had to read it over and over again.
And that's fine. There's something called close reading. You read you read the same material 3 times to gain an understanding. And each time you read it, you go with a different lens. We can talk about that too. A whole another time.
Well, that's
called close reading.
Right.
But it helps with reading comprehension.
Right. But so let's get to the comments. Well, Charles says this. He says cutting someone off not shows a lack of respect, but give the impression that you can care less about what they're expressing.
Absolutely.
Shanika George says it does make sense, right? And then Martina says, so it's not a conversation if both people can't engage. Yeah. Just to only listen doesn't sound healthy. We talk to hear a response unless you say be quiet. Don't talk, just listen. Then I'm okay. Let's have it. Fiona, Pastor Fiona is in the house. Said, "Hey family."
Hey family.
All right, hey, and sis. Martina says to validate, just say really, for real, they did. Oh, okay. And this is what I'm saying.
That's what he was saying.
What I'm saying is with that is because sometimes and I can say it because we all family. A lot of times the day, the stress of the day. For many of us, we have a lot of things on our mind, and I'm talking about the husband. I'm talking about husbands, boyfriends, things of that nature. A lot of things is on your mind at the moment, and then you want to come home to have this conversation with your wife, but then yet there's still some other things flowing. Like she could say something, and it would trigger something else that happened within the day with me, which then would take me way off the conversation, which then now I come up with the, I lost my train of thought. You understand what I'm saying? And yes, that validation now allows you now to now take you out of you and now put her into you, the conversation wise, to keep it going, to keep check in. Don't let her keep talking from A to B. Sometimes you got to stop her on the way from A to D and just get into that C point to say, now, all right, hold on, let me get a clear understanding.
Well, can I say something about that? Nothing's wrong with, and I don't want to confuse this with, if somebody interrupts you, that's not active listening, da da da. If you're interrupting to gain clarity about what the person is saying, that's just checking in and validating. There's nothing wrong with doing that. You'd much rather do that than interrupt the person with your story or a solution that you've concocted.
Mm-hmm.
That's not listening when you're coming up with a solution before the person has even finished. So if you're going to interrupt, go ahead and just validate what they're saying. Oh, well, let me say that again. Oh, yeah, I got it now. All right, keep going. Like, just make sure, I never have a problem when you do that because I know that you're listening to me.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're just kind of staring off and not focused, then we all know that that's not active listening.
Right.
All right.
So would it be okay? Let's say for instance, we came home and we had a bad day for a moment. You came to me with your day, the load of your day, and it's not a good time.
Oh,
right?
Yeah.
So what if now would it be disrespectful to now tell you, hey, can I just have a moment?
I think what it goes into for me and I think for us and for all couples maybe y'all do this. We are not the experts in everything, but I think it would be a good thing to like set times for each other to have conversation. Like, this is our time to talk, whether we really don't have much to talk about or we really do have a lot to talk about, but we know that this time every day we're gonna kind of unload on each other. Whether it turns into a Netflix and chill or whatever, you still make that time for your spouse. I talked about this a couple of weeks ago. What's good for the business? And you got to make sure that you're keeping open communication with your spouse. That's good for the business. That's good for the brand, right? So I would say the best thing to do is carve out time to have these conversations so that you all can have a place to have a safe space to talk about what's going on.
Now, how about also too, which would help with that active listening, is continuing conversations throughout the day, right? Like, I think one of the main things, and I could be very transparent on our show because I believe that we are all family. I think one of the main issues that we had, I'm still trying to improve on that also, is the conversations throughout the day. Picking up the phone at the moment and just say, hey, how you doing? How's your day going? Checking in at that time. So then now your wife is not coming home with like 4 or 5 different bags full of stuff. Where then now you have heard most of it throughout the day. You know what I mean? Sometimes it's good to not just, and I'm learning this, I haven't perfected it yet, but I'm getting better. I think I am. And I'm trying to work hard with that because even now, a lot of times your day goes by, the hours go by.
Busy.
You can get
so
very frustrated, especially like now being, quarantine and working from home and things of that nature.
I'm totally not working from home, so it is hard because I'm not home and I'm at work all day and he's home and he's working all day, and then it's like it's very hard to take breaks and be like, oh, I was just thinking about you. I seldom have time to do that,
right. So it's just good to actually be in that conversation,
even if it's a quick text, like, everything all right? I was checking on you, blah blah blah.
Right.
Okay.
So Martina says, I'm the talker, so that's why I say it's hard, but I clearly understand. Just them a minute to exhale. Give them a minute to exhale with words. It may mean a lot coming from a world that's careless about words. At least when I'm home, my word matters. Thank you, baby, for just listening. I guess he's talking to his woman. Right?
Yes. And sometimes that's all. Like, just listen. You don't have to come up with a solution. You don't have to put your story on top of mine. You just are there.
But then now when you talk about don't come up with a solution, I think that, and I know we're going a little bit past our time. However, I think, but this is a good conversation because when you talk about don't come up with a solution, for most of us men, that's what we do.
I know
we're the fixers.
Yeah,
you understand what I'm saying?
That comes from that Men Are From Mars, Women Are From Venus situation book. That you all are the fixers and you want to fix it. That's how your brain is wired or whatever, which is fine. But if the person doesn't want a solution, they just want an ear to listen, then just be that ear. You know, you can save you. Nothing's wrong with having that solution in your back pocket. Pull it out at another time. It doesn't have to be right when the person is expressing themselves.
Charles says this. He says, know your spouse. Know when to talk and when not. I.e., football games might not be a good time or after a work call. If you sense they may be stressed, sometimes we try to assert what we want in the moment. That is exactly true.
So true.
Sometimes we do assert what we want in the moment.
Yeah. I know I had to learn that with you. I was like, I don't know when is the right time for me to talk to you. And I had to figure out when was the right time. I have to always ask you that, like, well, when can we talk about this? I do that a lot because I just don't know when the right time is sometimes.
Well, sometimes it is the right time, but it's just, I think it's just the more of the, with me, especially like with, the type of job that I do. Sometimes I'm on the phone with the judge, things of that nature. And, when you come, down to talk or whatever, it's hard to now say, yo, hold on, Your Honor. You know what I mean?
Not during the day.
Well, I'm just saying like that. But then even, when I'm talking about like grasping work or whatever, I don't know. It's just something that I got to work on.
Yeah.
I think I got to work on that. All right. Brody, what's up, sir? What's popping, Go Burns? Everything's good, man. Let's see. Martina says, but it took us 30 minutes to get me there. Absolutely. Well, listen, I'm glad that, we had to get this understanding. I learned to set myself aside tonight. I don't have to control everything. Martina, listen, that blessed us so much, man. If we can just reach one, and affect a couple, you know what I mean? I think that we have completed our job for the night.
And we went through all this. I mean, and still going through it, So just sharing a little bit of what we are working out.
Absolutely.
As we work it out.
Absolutely. And here Brian says, I still don't know the right time to talk to my wife. That's got to be a normal thing.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say this, man. Practice makes perfect, right?
You see, we just sat here and we've been married how long?
No, it'd be 18 years this year.
We've been married 18 years and we still struggle with, well, when is that sweet spot to have this conversation? That's what I was saying about perhaps maybe making it, if it can't be every day, it should be y'all talking to each other every day, but to make a designated time just to talk. Has anybody had success? Like, there are more couples on here, and maybe this is something you're successful with your spouse. How do y'all do it? How do you talk every day at the same time? Do you make a time 3 times a week? Like, how do you get it so that you're keeping those communication lines a priority?
And you're not just talking about bills. And,
what I
mean?
Yeah,
and,
it's not just about
bills and the kids. I'm talking about just having real conversations within yourself, within the spouse, you and the spouse getting to know. Because let me tell you something. I heard something real powerful today. I heard something real powerful from Lauryn Hill, where she had said that, through her time in life, who they met, she was doing a concert. She said, the Lauryn Hill that you meet today, you're going to have to be reintroduced to the next Lauryn Hill, because I keep evolving. You know what I mean? And as, the person that you said I do to, right, at that time in 2003, that's a totally different person from now, 2021. So you have to actually learn that person. I think Charles said it earlier. where you have to know your spouse. You have to know how far they evolved and where they are. You know what I mean? And then you now understand them and now become an active listener.
Yeah.
Effective
and that's
listener.
That's how you understand them, though. You become an active, effective listener. You continue to listen and you watch and you learn that way. Are you gonna say that?
Yeah. Well, no, it says right here. Martina says, look, 10%. You two are great at hearing each concerns. It shows that their feelings are valid. Thank you, sir.
Absolutely.
Thank you, sir. Because I think that one of my main things is that we just don't want to come on here and really just jibber jabber. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We want to be effective. We want to be effective. We want to be able to say, like, listen, we came up with this topic, and it's coming from the heart. And a lot of times, how God does it with us is that we'll come up with a topic and we will go through it for the week.
Sure will.
And then now testify about it. So it's not like we don't get to be the first partakers of what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So it is good. So listen, I just want to just thank everybody for coming through today, right? Listen, we're working on some things. We're going to continue to work on some things. We if you are been with us for a moment, you've been with us for a moment, you understand that what we are doing this not to just get on here just to talk, but our job is to actually help other couples. We've been through stuff, we're going through stuff, but then yet we realize that we are better together.
I thought maybe we could end by showing us a little snippet of what active listening might look like.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay.
I'm about to get set up.
No, you're not. Do you want to be the person talking and I be the activist?
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
All right. I don't, babe. I had a long day. I don't want to dump anything on you, though.
Mm-hmm.
So, are you okay for me to tell you this now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay. So, I was at the job today, and this lady was really mean to me for no reason. Like, I came and I brought her papers that she wanted, and she was just kind of like threw them at me and was like, "Get out of my office."
No,
yeah, and I was like, I don't even understand, because I was just coming to do my job. I was bringing her the stuff that she asked me.
Right. Did you approach her with that?
I just was like, you know what? I'm not even going to deal with it. And I just walked to the room and I cried.
Right, but crying doesn't let the other person know how you felt.
I was just so hurt.
So did you let anybody? I mean, is this something that she always does to other people?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
She's mean.
So that still doesn't make it acceptable. So my thing is that at this, but see, now I'm trying to go to solve
but
it.
I was letting you solve it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because it seemed like I was in a place vulnerable.
Well, I think once you say something in reference to your, you crying, I think that's when the
emotional,
fixer,
like the fixer.
The fixer in me
says,
that
makes sense.
Right?
No, that was fine. Okay. But the way you were validating my story, you were listening, you were looking me in the eye, and you made me feel like you were there. So that was active listening.
Cool. So listen, why don't you try it out with your spouse this week? Okay. Maybe you can sit down for a moment, right? And then practice this. Yeah. Listen, we want you guys to be effective listeners
and effective
communicators, right? Yeah. Right? Active listening brings about effective communication, which brings out a better relationship. You hear what I'm saying? And when you have that in place, there's nothing that can come in between you. There's nothing that can come in between you, because there's no arguments, there's no misunderstandings. Why? Because I effectively listen, right? I became an active listener to now become effective with my listening, which actually brings about a better relationship. Listen, it was good to be with you guys tonight. Listen, we stood in a little extra 20 extra minutes.
That's because we weren't here last week.
Right.
We had to make up for lost time.
And listen, we apologize for not being on, but life happens. Yeah. And there's a lot on her plate. There's a lot on my plate, but then yet we are still taking this moment to actually come on. All right. We're going on. The summer is coming. Hopefully we'll be more outside doing our shows. Wow. And then, eventually we're working on a podcast. We're working on some other things.
Couple Talk Podcast. Yes.
All right. We're talking about Patreon, where you can actually subscribe to our page and get more insights with us, where we'll just pick up every day and just have a conversation. Right. I'm sorry. So we're working on some things right now. All right. And listen, if you're interested, oh man, Brian, man, it's good to hear from you, man.
Yes.
Listen, do me a favor. Go ahead and share this.
Yeah,
share this. All right. And if you're not subscribed to our YouTube page, please go and subscribe.
Yeah.
Go and subscribe.
Couple
Talk with the Goldburns. All right.
Maybe I'll put it in the chat. Milan, can you put it in the chat?
Yeah.
Our little producer is working in the background.
Yeah.
So it's Couple Talk with the Goldburns on YouTube.
All right. So listen, we are Couple Talk, where we bring up conversations.
No.
What we say? Huh?
We're Couple Talk, where we talk about topics.
We talk about topics which make couples talk.
We'll get it together.
We're still trying to get it. All right.
We'll get it together, y'all. It's gonna be all right.
Tavion says we are always evolving when it comes to communication.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Let's normalize effective communication in relationships.
I think that is positive. I think that can happen. Listen, we can talk all day, all night, but listen, we love you guys. We thank you for being a part of the Goldburns Couple Talk family. We are family. Yeah. There's a couple of people that I'm usually seeing is not on tonight, but hopefully they'll catch the replay. And when you catch the replay, thank you. We want to thank you for tuning in every week, being here, on time, and actually engaging in the conversation.
I would like to propose a time of 8:00 on Thursdays.
All right. Well, 8:00. We'll be here from now on. 8:00 on Thursdays. Meet us here. Okay. And listen, if you're interested in getting a Couple Talk with the Goldburns t-shirt or things of that nature, send us an email. All right.
I love coupletalk@gmail.com.
Listen, thank you for coming. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
All right.
Peace.